but it should not interfere as a fact checker. Well, the problem is like, so like fact checking is it can be very disingenuous depending on the way that you do it. It can be subjective. It's kind of like the example I use of 2 plus 2 equals 4, but 3 plus 1 also equals 4. So you can have like two things that are true, that are different, and it depends on like the way that it happens. So like there's different ways that you can like kind of subjectively use fact checking to push an agenda. So like for example, if you only fact check like one side of an issue, usually you have like, the truth is like usually in different issues you have both sides of the issue saying things that are generally like kind of untrue, but they say them anyway for whatever reason. And so like if you only fact check one side, it's going to give people the impression that only one side is like ever wrong. And I think that's definitely something that could happen too. Wait for Mr. Bear Boy. Okay, for this boss, I need a polearm, a fist weapon, a bow, and an offhand. So just literally go anything that's going to give you that. Okay. Let's go. With fact checking, you can fact check correlation is true, but use that correlation to a false conclusion. Yeah. I feel like fact checking, people want a gotcha moment where they can say something that's dead wrong. A lot of things are too nuanced. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I just don't. I think like I used to be much more involved in politics and much more interested in them and like different issues, but nowadays it just feels like every issue is kind of watered down to its like the stupidest two positions possible, and then people fight over those two positions, and it just makes me not want to think about it or deal with it. Fact checking is not a bad thing. Twitter made it clear they fact check is to give the reader another point of view where they can choose to read. To me, that's okay. I think it depends on like the way that you do it. So for example, let's say you flip a coin 10 times. So this is how like certain statistics can be used in misleading ways. So like if you flip a coin 10 times, you're going to have one case where like 8 out of the 10 flips is going to for sure be heads or tails, right? But what happens whenever you basically take that 10 flips and where it's 8 out of 2 or 8 out of 10, whatever you want to call it, and then you extrapolate that and you say that's the actual odds of the situation happening. So what I'm saying is that things are misrepresented even whenever they're true. So like, yeah, you flip a coin 100 times and you take, you know, like one window between like the 35th and the 45th flip time, and it's like, oh, well, I got heads 8 times here. That means it's always going to be heads. Like usually like statistics, if you ever want to like evaluate the veracity of a statistics like test or anything like that, usually the letter that they use is called N, and N is usually referring to the number of instances and number of like kind of cases that they evaluated, and I think that makes it much more indicative of kind of what things are going to be. And yeah, the sample size, I don't know why I kept drawing a blank there. They're saying fact checkers usually focus on one-time events, they happen or not, repeatable testable knowledge. It's very different context. One-time events where they happened or not. Well, I think it usually it depends. You'd have to give me like a situation, and I think that if you gave me a situation, it'd be a lot easier for me to explain why I think that it could be unclear. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, like if you give me a situation, I can kind of explain like how you can draw opposite conclusions from it. Let's get one more person. Yeah, everybody leave. Everybody leave. Leave instance group and we'll get one more person. Any interest in game development? No. No interest in game development. I need a caster for the staff. I'd say crime. You don't want to open that kind of worms. Well, I think crime's like, I don't want to get into it a whole lot, right? But like crime is a good example. It's like people can look at like racial crime, for example, and then not correlate that with income or something like that. And so you can have like different things that actually can make sense together, but once you separate them, they don't make sense. And you can draw inaccurate conclusions because you only give half of the picture. And that's what I think is a problem. Give me intuition on a possible solution. Better education for the public. The problem is fundamentally bad public education. Most people don't understand basic statistics. They don't understand critical thinking because they were never taught critical thinking or statistics or anything. So big surprise, they don't understand that because why would they ever know it? So you're gonna have people that one second, I've got to figure this out. Okay, Q with the role that I assigned you. Okay. Do you do any genuine political research? I don't really have time. Like, I mean, I only have like a certain amount of time in my day. And I want to spend my time in my day, you know, with my friends and doing things to help me relax. Like, I'd like to do more things like that, but, you know, I have like a limited amount of time that I can spend. And I'd like to... Q is what you're assigned, Shiny. If you're assigned one thing, then Q that one thing. Do you think you'll stream less in the near future? Not really. I'm happy to stream. Kids going to a classroom is like you doing Asperger's in your chat, trying to teach them critical thinking, but it's hard. We do what we can. Well, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it could be like a dozen reasons. Like, I don't know. I think kids need to be taught it very early on, and if they don't get taught it very early on, you know, it's harder for them to learn, I think.